really looking for someone to say it was a stupid idea, because there was a little seed in me that felt like it was. I thought it just sounded like a dumb idea. Like, there's no way. Like, I'm just justifying my want to have like a freaking bougie motorhome. This doesn't actually make like financial sense. Something I feel the need to explain is what made me decide to live in an RV. More specifically, this one. It goes back farther than just this thing. I don't know if you're familiar with my story or not, but before this, I inadvertently lived out of my race trailer, which I also have a video on. This living quarters race trailer, like 44-foot vintage trailer. I got that last summer for all the street car takeover stuff. It was Chase Lautenbach's old trailer, and I got a killer deal on it. Did everything I could to make that deal happen, because I knew I'd never get another deal like that again. I didn't even have a truck to pull it with when I put a deposit on it. I actually put a deposit on it and had to go back to Pennsylvania, find a truck, buy a truck, and then go to Missouri and get the trailer. Well, fast forward to September, I had been, instead of like, if there was a week, like one weekend we'd race somewhere, next weekend be somewhere else, instead of going home, I would just stay in like Kansas City or something while, like, in between the races, because it was either the same distance or closer than home, and I had more fun there. So I just stayed gone and did stuff out there. Well, after a while, that kind of became me just wanting to stay gone, because I just didn't want to go home. I just didn't like it. I didn't want to be there anymore, and I enjoyed being out where things were happening, making stuff happen. So whenever LS Fest rolled around in the beginning of September, I loaded up and I went there, and my plan was to go there and then go to hang out in Kansas City for a little bit after that, and then go to Tulsa for a street car takeover the following weekend. So I loaded up a bunch of my stuff, like I brought my welder and stuff like that, because Justin said he might have a car that needs something done. So I'm like, you know what, it's a good idea to bring my welder. I brought it. I went to LS Fest, and then I went to Kansas City, and then to Tulsa, and then after Tulsa I went to Oklahoma City just to hang out for a bit, and I never left. For 9 months I never went back to Pennsylvania. The first time I went back was like at the end of May, and that was actually to sell the trailer to buy this. So at what point did I decide this trailer is okay to live in? And I went like, where's the bridge there? Well, in October, beginning of October, I stayed in Oklahoma City to build Chase's Mustang, like to build a turbo kit on it, and I was just gonna stay in my trailer. So he had a plug put in next to the building, and I was out there, and after a couple weeks I noticed my floor was all wet. Like, it would not dry out between the vinyl planking on the ground, and I noticed that my shower drain had worked itself loose and the water was going around it, and it had gotten under the LVP flooring, so I had to pull it up and let it dry out. Well, it got under some of the linoleum too, so I had to rip up the base linoleum and just like let it all dry out so it wouldn't get moldy or anything. While it was all torn apart, he's like, oh, you just stay in my RV inside the building. So I did. And while I was building his car, there was a time crunch for that, so I wasn't concerned with like putting my trailer back together. I ended up staying in his RV in the building for almost 2 months during that process. And it was at that point I realized, well, my trailer's too small. It was kind of annoying. It was growing old, and whenever I got into Chase's motorhome, I was no longer like irritated with the lack of space. I had enough counter space to like make food. The shower was a little bit bigger, more like easier to use. Like, it was just more comfortable than that tiny little spot in the trailer. And I was just kind of thinking, gears were turning, because when I went to an enclosed trailer I lost all the free advertising I got from just driving. Like before, when an open trailer, I'd get pictures sent to me of the Escalade going down I-70 somewhere in like Illinois, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. Or like I get posted places and posted in like car spotter groups for different cities, and they get tagged in it, and like it would grow my pages like a good bit. And I wasn't really aware how much I would lose by going to an enclosed trailer where nobody can see what it is. Like nobody looks at a white truck with a white trailer, which is good if that's what you're going for, but that's not really helping me right now. So I hashed this idea. Oh, I wonder, I could probably sell my dually and my trailer, get an open trailer, and pull the Escalade behind a motorhome, and I'll just live in the motorhome. Like that'll just be my house. Then I won't have to pay rent, and I can do, like, it'll be good for branding. Because my thought process was, I either have 3 major expenses coming out every month: truck, trailer, rent, just to live. And I did some number crunching, and I figured out that if I consolidated the 3 into one thing, it would actually save me money. And you could say, oh, well, the maintenance and all that stuff. Well, even if it doesn't save me money, if it's the same amount of money, an apartment does not serve me in the way that something like this does. It is not a source of content. It is not a branding tool. It's not fun. It doesn't make a good story. And something I wasn't really thinking about at the time was the networking potential that one of these carries. That's a whole other story. But I thought I would look at, my dad had a Country Coach Magna back when I was growing up. He had 2 of them, like a 2000 and a 2007. And I thought, man, this has been long enough now. I bet those things are pretty cheap. I wonder how much they are. So I looked them up, and I'm like, oh, wow. That's attainable. Then I thought, wonder how much an old Prevost is, because those were like the best ones. And I looked them up, and I was like, well, dang, those are attainable too. Like the lowest priced ones were anyway. And I was like, how about a Newell? I wonder what an old Newell looks like. I looked those up, same thing. They were there, and they looked really cool, and I was like, oh my god, gears are turning. And I was like, that seems kind of like a dumb idea, to just live in an RV. Like, I don't know, they gotta be unreliable, and the old ones are probably a basket case. So I started doing some research on it, and that's when I found Andrew Steele's channel, and I reached out to him over Facebook and explained my whole situation and thought process in the very first message I sent, which is critical if you're trying to network with like people who have followings, who get a lot of messages. You can't just say, hey. They're not going to answer. You have to ask your question, provide your background, like give substance, and you will actually get a reply if they read it and it's good. Like that's how I work, and he worked the same way for him. That's why I knew to say it like that. Anyway, got to know him better, started talking to him, and I learned a lot about these things, and it really opened my doors to that world. So I started looking at it more, and that was kind of my game plan, because I thought it just sounded like a dumb idea. Like there's no way. Like I'm just justifying my want to have like a freaking bougie motorhome. This doesn't actually make like financial sense. And I brought it up to a good bit of people, like old guys older than me, like my friends' dads and stuff, that are own businesses and are very successful. I kind of outlined the idea to them, and they're like, yeah, this sounds like a good idea. And nobody told me it was a stupid idea, and I was really looking for someone to say it was a stupid idea, because there was a little seed in me that felt like it was. Nobody did. So all the self-doubt was gone from people I trust backing up the structure of it. So I started looking. I was only really wanting a Newell or a Prevost. And whenever we went to Tucson for our streetcar takeover there, after that I went up to Phoenix and checked out some stuff at Premium Coach Group, and that was the first time I really got to like see these things in person since I was like 10 or something, whenever the last time I was on a NASCAR race. And like, you know, check them out and look at them with the perspective of now knowing what it's like to do RV stuff. Because my trailer was essentially a little mini motorhome and had all the same systems, it was just smaller. And I met up with Andrew Steele over there, and you know, we went race go-karts and stuff. It was fun. I test drove a 2002 Newell, a 95 Prevost XL, and I was looking at them, and you know, there were some serious prospects there, but I didn't have my truck and trailer sold yet, so I couldn't really do anything. But I had made up my mind that that's what I wanted to do at that point. So fast forward to why did I pick this one? This particular Newell. Why did I pick a Newell? Well, as I got more into things, I made that video of Dale Earnhardt's Newell, which I had every intention of buying, and I was, because of the situation of what it was, I didn't have to have my truck and trailer sold yet. Like, I could have like made it happen otherwise, because it was a unique scenario, and that was that. But I was fully prepared to do it, ready to make it happen, and the thing just ended up being a disaster. I didn't buy it, but I still made a video about it because I drove freaking 1,700 miles or 2,400 miles round trip to go look at it, and I put that up, and it's my biggest video as of this recording. Well, some people at the Newell factory, I guess, were watching it, and I got to talking to them, and I was like, you know, I'd really like to check the place out because it's only 3 hours away from OKC. And so in May, I did go up through there, and actually seeing how they're built and seeing how the people are and everything, I was just like, man, you're just not going to find this with Prevost. Like, just the Newell network is so just cool. They're all hand built. There's only like 30 of them made a year, and the stories behind them are almost always like traceable, just because they're all numbered. They all have their own build number. This particular one is number 402, which I think is kind of cool because all my numbers, like for my username, is 42 and it's 402. Just little things like that I pick up on. Yeah, so after that, after I got to know the people, and it's like, I want to be a part of this. This is a good place to be, and the network of Newell owners is a really tight-knit community, and it doesn't take an idiot to put together that the owners of these things are generally successful people because they're really expensive. Like a new one of these is $2 million all day, sometimes a little more than that. And heck, even a 10-year-old one is $500,000. And the only reason I got this one is because it's as old as I am, and it's still really, really nice. But this particular one was originally owned by Al Unser Jr., and then he sold to Robbie Gordon. So when I found it, it was in my price range, and it had a cool backstory, and I'm thinking, you know, it'd probably be, like, it can't hurt. Like, the doors that this thing could open that otherwise wouldn't be there just because of its own past, or something that, you know, it's kind of like the X Factor. I don't know, it could be really, really awesome, but there was no guarantee that it would do anything. Where I wouldn't, you know, that wouldn't be there with the Prevost, because there's something like 17 Prevosts built for every one Newell that's out there. So it's just a different world. And it turns out that the networking potential of this thing is actually working really well. Like, since I've gotten this, I've gotten to talk to Mark Martin. He's a big Newell guy, and he hooked me up with Al Unser Jr. Like, I actually texted Al Unser Jr. and I was like, hey, I, you know, got the number from Mark Martin, totally random, but I bought your old motorhome and was wondering if you had any pictures of it when it was new, because this isn't the original paint job. That's what I first wanted to find out. And he didn't have any pictures, but he's a super cool guy, and I'm probably gonna meet up with him at some point so he can check it out and tell some stories. But like, this is just all a big cycle back to that original idea that, you know, it's more than just a motorhome or a place to live. Like, it's a tool. And it not happening by accident. This was 100% my plan and intention from the beginning. And I've only had it for a month. Like, keep that in mind too. The first day I had this thing, I was literally like 2 hours into the drive after I signed the papers and started going back out here. And I called Robbie Gordon Motorsports just to ask, like, the secretary if they knew anything about it, because the guy I got this from said he thought it used to be Robbie Gordon's, but he had no proof. So I wanted to find out if it was actually his. And I was like, yeah, I got this old Newell. The guy I got it from said it used to be Robbie's, but I have no proof. I was wondering if maybe he knew anything about it. And she was like, oh, well, what's it look like? And I was like, it's black. It's like silver and black, and it's got this real cool checker flag thing down the side. And she's like, oh, hold on a minute. And she goes, I'm on hold for like 5 minutes. And I'm thinking, man, like, there's got to be something going on here, because if there was nothing to be known, then I wouldn't be on hold this long. Well, she comes back with Robbie. So I'm driving this thing, and I'm talking to Robbie Gordon on the phone. I'm just like, well, that's cool. I haven't even had this thing 24 hours yet, and it's already, like, you know, working for me. As an apartment doesn't do that. And nothing. You throw money at rent, and it's just gone. I pay on this, and 1, I keep it when it's done. 2, it serves me from a branding standpoint, networking, and availability. Like, if I have a job to do somewhere else, I can take my house with me, and I can stay there as long as I need to. It's just, I really think that living in these things is something that more people should consider. As long as you have a place to put one, like, dude, it's great. I can go different places, and then my daily routine doesn't have to change. This is a non-slide coach, so I don't have to deal with any of that. It's just me in here. And completely honest, I don't even use the entire thing. Like, the midway doors right there, I don't even walk up to the front unless I'm gonna drive it. I pretty much just sit here, make food, use the fridge, take a shower, and go to bed. Like, it's perfectly fine for one person. This is a 45-foot coach, and it's got more than enough room for me to do whatever I need to do and be completely content. I don't feel restricted at all, and it's just great. I'm 1 month in, and I couldn't be happier with my decision to do this. And anybody who thought that I was stupid or I should just get an apartment or something, you know, go freaking suck it, because you're wrong. This is great, and we're winning. I am going to do a video tour of the inside once I clean it up a bit here, and if that's something you want to see, head on over there, check that out. I got lots of other videos on this thing, working on it and messing with it. It's straight piped, the Series 60 Detroit. Like, it's just a beast, and I can't wait to see what we're going to do moving forward. So you better hit that subscribe button so you can be there too.